Welcome to Boston Banner Bound. Celtics just got the win 116-95 against the Brooklyn Nets in the TD Garden tonight. They are now on a 3-game win streak. They are 24-15, and they are still sitting in the 5th spot in the Eastern Conference. So before going into this game, the Nets, surprisingly, like I said, what was it, last night? I said the Nets are somehow 7th in the East. So that's kind of crazy. They were on a 3-game win streak, and they were coming off a back-to-back. They just beat the Bulls last night, so can you say it was exhaustion? Who knows? But they ended up... Oh, and if you look at their roster and their inactives, they could be called the Hospital Nets right now because they had no Hollis Jefferson, no Crabbe, no Musa, no Levert, no Carroll, and no Harris. So they had a pretty hospital-looking team as well for the Nets, but no hospital Celtics tonight. The only person that was missing was Baines. Love Baines, but Baines was out tonight. Return of Morris, return of Time Lord Williams, and return of Irving. So it's kind of crazy because for me, when I got the update, the ESPN update that Morris and Williams, I don't know why, but for some reason, Morris and Williams update came in before the update for Irving. So when I saw that Marcus Morris and Robert Williams was back in the lineup or in the game tonight for being active, I was like, awesome. Can't wait. This is going to be great because I actually ended up going to the game. But then, like maybe 5-10 minutes later, they gave the Kyrie Irving announcement that he was actually going to be playing after missing 2 straight games. And I was kind of like, oh, I don't know. I wasn't really excited because they've been doing so well without Kyrie Irving. You see, Kyrie's missed 4 games so far, and they are 3-1 without Kyrie. And then Kyrie just missed 2 back-to-back games, and they were on a 2-game win streak. So it's one of those things where it's like, is Irving, the effect of Irving, is he the missing piece? Or is he the catalyst? Is he their kryptonite? Because they do a lot better when Irving is on the bench, I think. But moving on, it was a kind of rocky start for the Celtics. The Nets went on a 12-4 run to start. Kind of wondering, okay, with Irving in the starting lineup and starting the game, is that going to be a problem? But the Celtics got it together. They had an 18-point lead, and then they were leading 56-45 at the half. Smart had 12 points in 13 minutes, so you're really seeing Smart really coming alive this season, honestly. You know he's going to be there on the defensive end, but on this offensive end, you're really seeing him take charge. He was actually, he had back-to-back threes, and he was 4 for 8 for threes for the night. So I like that stat right there. He's taking those shots. He's making half of them. That's not bad. So that was good for Smart. Hayward had 10 points in 13 minutes off the bench in the first half. That was awesome. But as we all know, they always have this third quarter trouble, these third quarter issues. They got it back. The Nets got it back within 5 points after the Celtics had an 18-point lead at the half. But the Kyrie Irving effect, in a good way, I guess, he ended up getting them back in the game, pushed that lead out to 24 points. By the fourth quarter, they were up by 24 points, and then that made Brad Stevens decide to sub in Time Lord Williams, Wanamaker, and Yabusele. I'm calling them the third-string team, and they did well. And, of course, obviously, Time Lord doing what he does best. He only had 4 minutes of play, but managed to get a steal and a dunk in true Time Lord fashion, as we all expect. However, the Nets did have 5 players in double figures. Their leading scorer was Kirkus, And he actually ended up having 21 points in 22 minutes, so I was paying attention to him. He ended up ending the game with 27 points, and he was their leading scorer for the night. But the Celtics had 8 players in double figures. That's the first time since 2015. And it was their 4th straight game above 30 team assists. Actually, tonight they had 37, which was a season high for the Celtics in assists. So maybe, just maybe, Kyrie Irving is getting on the team ball train, because he only had 17 points tonight, but he did have 6 assists, and he was the leading scorer and the leading assister tonight with 17 and 6. So maybe he's getting that he can't just be a ball hog and do it all himself and win games. And the other 7 players that were in double figures were Morris, Tatum, Smart, and Horford. So the entire starting 5, including Irving, they were all in double figures tonight, as well as Tice, Hayward, and Rozier off the bench. So that's great. Great numbers, great ball movement, great sharing of the ball. That's just impressive to me. Looking ahead, though, they are playing the Pacers on Wednesday, and the Pacers are 3rd in the East. They are 26-13, and right now the Celtics are 0-1 against the Pacers for the season, for matchups this season. So they have to figure out how to contain Oladipo. They need to figure out a strategy to keep this win streak going. They are now at 3, like I said. They are now 24-15. Again, 5th in the Eastern Conference. But you know what I want to talk about? I kind of want to talk about centers and who the Celtics could possibly pick up at the trade deadline. Now, I don't claim to know everything about contracts and trades and all that. So correct me if I'm wrong, if you guys know more than I do. But in my perfect world, I would love to grab, and I'll tell you, I looked up contracts, but I don't know about trading and buying them out and whatever. My main guy that I want for a center to come to the Boston Celtics for me is DeAndre Jordan. And he is an unrestricted free agent next year, if that means anything to you people. But let me just tell you, DeAndre Jordan's a beast, okay? He averages a double-double. He's averaging right now 10 points a game and 14 rebounds a game. 14 rebounds. Do you know how beneficial someone like that would be for the Celtics? Because the second chance points are killing the Celtics across the board always. Their second chance points for the other team, awful. Awful. You need a guy like DeAndre Jordan who's going to get buckets. He's going to get the tip-ins. He's going to get the alley-oops. He's going to get boards. Whether it's offensively or defensively, he's on the boards. He's getting those boards. So he's my number 1 guy that I want coming to the Celtics. If magically somehow Danny Ainge can pull that out and grab him, that would be great. If not DeAndre, I want Andre Drummond. And again, Andre Drummond, same situation as DeAndre Jordan. He's averaging 17 points a game and 15 rebounds a game and 1.8 blocks. So that's just insane. 15 rebounds a game? That's unbelievable. And for him, he's in a contract until 2021, but again, like I said, I need to obviously research this on what free agency looks like, what contracts look like. But if somehow Danny Ainge can make it work, maybe give up some of the picks that the Celtics have, because they have so many draft picks, lottery picks. If they can somehow manage to maybe even get rid of Horford, and listen, I think Horford's great. I hated him year 1, hated him. And since then, we're on year 3 with him now. Year 2, he was better. This year, he looks good, but he's got some injuries. He's older, and he's not worth a max contract. Celtics signed him on a max 3-year deal. Now you got Hayward, and now you got Irving, and you just re-signed Smart. There's no way Horford's getting an extension on that contract. If he wants to take a pay cut, cool. But you need a better center than that. I'm sorry, you do. You need dudes that are averaging 14, 15 rebounds a night. Like, common sense. That's what the Celtics need right now. You don't need another shooting guard. You don't need another point guard. It's just, you need to know what you're lacking, and that's size. You got so many guys there that are injured or that you're not playing. Like, okay, I get it. Robert Williams is a rookie, but he's your only other big man that you have right now that's not hurt besides Baines. And Tice is cool too, but like, they're not consistent enough for me. You need someone who's consistently getting those boards and those numbers every night, and you know what you're getting. So that for me is key going forward for the trade deadline, which is February 7th. So something to think about. It's coming up quick. Danny Ainge needs to make some moves. Do you get rid of Terry Rozier? And tonight it was weird because Terry Rozier was in the same rotation with Kyrie Irving, and that kind of confuses me. Why would you have two who their primary positions are point guards playing together? Why? And then, unfortunately, because Irving was back and healthy, Wanamaker didn't get an opportunity, really. He came in with 4 minutes left in the fourth quarter. He got a bucket or two. But the thing is, if you're only giving this guy 4 minutes, and the reason why he's in the game is because they have a 26-point lead, they're not, first of all, because the Celtics are classy, they're not going to keep running up the score. The point is, when you put in those third-string people, is to just dribble it out. You're not really taking shots, because if you do, you look arrogant, and you Celtics are a classy, humble organization. They're not going to be hitting threes in your face when you're down 26 points. It's just not going to happen. So, unfortunately, that's where I'm at right now with trade deadlines. Another thing I wanted to talk about was something I kind of was upset about last year. Coach of the Year and Rookie of the Year. And now I'm kind of thinking the way that people vote and like the voting of these things is just all political. It's all popularity contest because in my opinion, and I'm not being biased on this when I say this, Tatum should have got Rookie of the Year because all around he was breaking records, setting records for the Celtics organization and the entire NBA. He was the leading three-point shooter in the month of December as a 19-year-old rookie. But you want to give it to Ben Simmons, who wasn't even a rookie. It's like you redshirted and you sat on a bench, but you got to read all of the notes. You got to read all the playbooks. You got to be in practice. You got to have that experience for a full year. But you want to sit there and say you're not that you are a rookie? Nah, bro. Not a rookie. Didn't deserve it whatsoever. And if it wasn't Tatum, it should have been Donovan Mitchell because Donovan Mitchell was the entire team. For Tatum, he had to kind of take a back seat, and he had those breakout moments when Kyrie Irving was down for 41 games, and that way Tatum had to step up, and Hayward was out for the entire season. So it's like Tatum had people to play off of. He had Smart, he had Horford, he had all these different people with him. Donovan Mitchell was the entire team. So those two, 100% should have got it over Ben Simmons, who can't even shoot a three. We reduced him to 1 point in a playoff game. Like, are you kidding me? Tell me how he's Rookie of the Year. Please let me know. And then let's talk about Coach of the Year. Brad Stevens dealt with the most adversity that entire season. And you want to tell me that you're going to give it to Dwayne Casey, the dude that wasn't even employed? He was fired mid-season, but you want to give him Coach of the Year? Tell me why. Tell me why. What'd he do? We don't even remember what team he even coached. That's how irrelevant Dwayne Casey was. But you don't want to give it to Brad? That's crazy. Unbelievable. And now it makes me think of the All-Star voting. And listen, someone made a good point. I was listening to some NBA game and listening to the announcers talk, and the announcer said, for the All-Star game, it shouldn't be like 5 people from the East and 5 people from the West or whatever it is, how they do the voting. I think it should be the entire NBA. It could be 7 players from the West and only 3 from the East or whatever, because the West is so stacked and the Western Conference players are getting gypped. Like Paul George is playing lights out this year, but he's not even in the running because they voted in Luka, a rookie, as an all-star contender, and it's just kind of like, what? Like, how are you going to overlook Paul George? And then it's just like, it's just political popularity contest. It's not really about who is really an all-star. It's more, who do they want to see play? And I feel that same way with like MVP voting too, because I doubt they're going to give it to Harden and have him have back-to-back, even though he's literally averaging 35 points a game in the past like 5-6 games he's played. It's literally sickening how ridiculous he is. Like, nasty. He's lights out. But watch them give it to LeBron just because it's LeBron. It's just ridiculous. I just don't get it. Like, voting in general is just crazy. I think that it is cool now that they're letting captains pick their teams. And now this year they're actually going to film the captains picking their teams. So they didn't do it last year because they felt as though people would have hurt feelings about getting picked last or whatever. But listen, it's an honor to be picked, period. There's so much competition. It's crazy. And then another thing I wanted to talk about was, instead of it being 1 through 15, 1 through 8, it should be 1 through 15. That's how I think playoffs should go. Instead of it being like, oh, only 1 through 8 make playoffs, I think it should be everyone battles it out. If it's close, though. But here's the thing. Like, for example, the Eastern Conference, it's a little spread out, so I wouldn't say that the Eastern Conference would do the 1 through 15 and it would really benefit them. But I do believe that the Western Conference should, because it is crazy close in the Western Conference. I'm looking at it right now, and 1 through 14 in the West are within 9 games from the 1 seed, which is the Denver Nuggets. And the only team that's really out of it is the Phoenix Suns. They're 18 and a half games back. But if you look at the Eastern Conference, it's not as close. Like, 1 through 8 are 10 games back, and then 9 through 15, it's like 20 games. So they're irrelevant. But I think it'd be more it would just be more competition and more of a reason for people to play harder. You know what I mean? Because it's just like, I don't know. The West is just so stacked, and they really need to balance it out, because the East is just kind of a joke. I mean, the Nets are the 7th in the East right now. Like, who would have ever thought I would be saying those words? Like, the East is just doing awful. And it's just not even, like, fun to watch. It's like rec league games. Crazy. But actually now that I'm thinking about what I just said about rec league games, it made me think of this. So again, with the centers, right? Now, centers are, like, feeling super cocky and comfortable to be shooting the 3 ball. And here's the reason why that's not cool. If you can make it cool, like I've seen Tice and I've seen Horford and I've seen these guys hit 3s, which is great. But if you're the only person that's supposed to be rebounding and getting boards, how are you supposed to rebound and get boards if you're on the arc? It's like, no, you're supposed to be under the basket getting rebounds, getting second chance points, not shooting 3s. So that's kind of interesting that a lot of people now are shooting 3s, and the 3 ball being such a crazy impact on this game. That's why games are getting into the literally 130s, 140s. It's like no one's ever, back in the day, like even back in the 90s, games wouldn't get up to maybe even like 90 points. Now they're getting to 130, 140 points. It's kind of insane. But again, I think DeAndre Jordan is one of the leading centers. I think he's worth trying to go after. I think Danny Ainge really needs to decide where the Celtics are going for the future. It's I don't know if you keep Kyrie Irving. I don't know, because he missed 41 games last year, and the Celtics were 25-16 without him. So for me, Kyrie Irving, same thing with the whole LeBron James effect and how the Cavs are so bad now because LeBron's gone, but the Lakers were so great when he joined the team. Like, when you look at that type of effect on a team, and then you look at what happened when Kyrie Irving was out for those 41 games, 34 of which were in a row, and you see the chemistry completely switch, and all of the bench players that were getting those starting minutes, they got that confidence, and they took on that role and the next man up mentality. You saw that. But you see it here this season. He's missed 4 games already. Celtics were 3-1 when Kyrie was not on the court. And you see Hayward getting 35 points, and then the next night, 2 assists shy of a triple-double, and the ball movement and the 30-plus assists back-to-back-to-back nights. And it's just like, is Kyrie Irving the ball hog? Is Kyrie Irving the reason why the team assists are down and they're losing games? I mean, stats don't lie. 25 and 16 when he's out. 3-1 when he's out this year. Do they really need Kyrie? I don't know. Hospital Celtics do better than full-strength Celtics, and is it because there's too much talent? Do they not know how to share? Do they not know how to cohesively play together when there's so much talent on a team? The young guys, Rozier, Jalen, Jason, the Jays, the J-Boys, it's like they dominated the second half of the season last year. And now it's like they're taking a back seat and they're afraid to live up to that potential that they had because Kyrie Irving's a superstar and he needs to have that limelight and he needs to have that moment to shine. And it's just kind of like, I don't know. Do they need that many all-stars? Can a Celtics team that's not full of all-stars make a finals? They were 1 game away last year. So something to think about. Halfway through the season, well, they've played 39 games so far. There's 82 in a season, regular season, so they're almost at that halfway point. They will take on the Pacers on Wednesday. Their January is crazy busy. They got a lot going on. Then they play on Friday against, where are they at? Against the Heat. They actually go to Miami on Friday. So we'll see how they do. I will try and do these recaps and then come up with other topics that I think are worth discussing. If anyone has any topics that they think are worth discussing, let me know. I will try and get stats, details, and tell you my opinion on any sort of topic. This was Boston Bannerbound.